Very early on, actually, when I was in university, I used to sometimes skip a class and go for a walk, and really I felt a strong calling into business. I didn't know what that would look like then, but later on in life, when I finally gave my heart to the Lord, I really felt a strong calling to change how I did business and the way we did business, and to really dedicate the business to Him, to really understand that it's His business. It's the first and only so far Broyhill Home Collections store in Canada.
Okay.
And fortunately, we're happy to say it's also the most successful in the world. Of the whole chain of home collection stores, we're the most successful. There are approximately 60 different home collection stores in the world, and every 3 months they give the ratings of how they're doing. And fortunately, and we feel it's because of the Lord's blessing, this is #1 in the world. I was partnership in another store, and felt very unevenly yoked with the partner that I was with after I gave my heart to the Lord. And I asked the Lord just to make a decision whether He wanted me to stay there or to move on somewhere else. And then Broyhill approached us about opening the first store in Canada, and one thing led to another, and here we are. Probably the most fundamental one was keep holy the Sabbath. We felt that the Lord was prompting us to be closed on Sundays. And in retail today, being closed on a Sunday is almost unheard of. So we were a little concerned when exactly how Broyhill was going to react when they found out we were planning on being closed on Sundays, but they didn't have a problem with it. The other thing, which is I felt really fundamental, we did not want to pit one employee against the other on a commission basis. In most commission stores, you really have sort of a list of the top sellers and on the way down to the lower sellers and so on, and you really create a sense of competition between them. It's not a very healthy environment often to work in, so we felt very early on before we opened that we didn't want to do that. We wanted to really create a team that could witness to each other. So there's no commission, there's a shared bonus, there's no competitive spirit where they're competing against each other, they're working with each other. So I guess the other biblical principle that's very important is we try to exhibit servant leadership, which is very important to us. We don't look at it as though they are working for us, but we all work together. So it makes it a very different atmosphere to work in. In the building we have about 20 employees in total. That would be part-time and full-time. And then we also have in the warehouses and so on about another 30 people working, which don't work directly for this company. We outsource it. So indirectly, we employ about 50, 60 people. Yes, my definition of an intercessor would simply be someone who prays on specific things for the company to seek the Lord's guidance for different issues that might concern the company. They often don't really know what they're praying for, and often when they give us a word, they have no idea what bearing it may have or how pertinent it might be at the time that they're giving it. So it really is sort of a conduit of seeing the Lord's will and not clouding it with our own will. Really, that's the bottom line. Yeah, again, right from the very beginning, we felt that intercessors were very important to us. When you're working in a company, it's easy to be so engrossed with what you're doing that even though you're seeking God's will for your company, many times you can confuse it with your own will. And by having an intercessor, they really see things differently. And they're not privy to the day-to-day going on of the company. So when they come with a word for you that really resonates, you know that it's directly from God. You really can see that God is at work in some of your major decisions that you're about to make. So we love to meet with our intercessors. We also love just to hear from them on what God is telling them about the company, either just to stay on course or to do something differently, like we referred to the email earlier today about mainly just staying on course, just following the Lord and waiting on Him, and not being anxious about the economic downturn or anything else that might affect us. Yes, without getting into any specifics, but yes, there's been a few major changes that we've made in the company that we definitely employed the use of intercessors, actually even hired a few intercessors to specifically pray on certain things to see whether we should move forward with the decisions that we were thinking about making. And what they said, of course, has shown to be really true. At the time, you look at it and you go, man, it seems impossible that could be the way things are going to go. But later on, you realize they were dead on. Some of the staff really love the idea. Those who, again, have given their hearts to the Lord and really understand what an intercessor is. you know, I think there's the secular world kind of worries about an intercessor having maybe too much influence, and we're careful to make sure that's not it. When we get a word from the Lord, we just we listen to it and we put it on the table, so to speak, and just wait and see if that's the way things go. So I think the staff is, especially those, as I say, who have given their heart to the Lord, they're very keen on it. They know that the Lord's guiding the company and that it's His company. We make that clear almost on a daily basis. So the sort of the fundamental use of the room is on a daily basis for customers. Okay. To come and sit with their salespeople, discuss what they're thinking of buying, and then complete the sale in this room. And it works beautifully for that. The customers love to be able to lounge here, and also when people are making a large buying decision, they often want to just take some time to think about it, you know, and what they want to purchase. So this is a great room to do this.